Hi guys, we're back with another Seasons of the Year video. For those that don't know, I've been doing a series on this channel called Seasons of the Year, where every month I pick a new theme or season to kind of live the month by. You can kind of think of it like a goal, but there is no hard deadline or obligation. The whole idea is to open up a space for myself to improve myself and better my life. Whether that be learning a new skill, a new hobby, or just trying to complete tasks and things that I've been putting off for a long time. We are currently on month 5 and it's been going well so far. Last month was inspired by the cherry blossom, spring ephemerals, and getting out and gardening. This month is mindset and migration. The whole point of this month is I wanted to get outside, walk more, bird more, and try and do a little bit more wildlife photography. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a birder, but I do like to go birding. I'm not the greatest at species identification or bird call memorization, but I do like to practice it every now and then, and I've been a bit rusty. I had the day off work today, so I decided I would go out birding and visit a park with my dog. It's been a few years since I've done this, so let's see how it goes. You excited to go to the park today? I used to do this a lot in college. It was a big part of my major and a part of what I needed to learn for a career. But I haven't done it in quite a few years because honestly, the kind of jobs I do now are a bit more stationary and have taken me more indoors. And I realized I started to kind of miss going outside and being a little bit more active and doing those things that I used to do all the time. And I think part of why I hadn't done it is because I didn't really have that guidance that I did have when I was in school. You know, I had professors that loved birds, and as it was part of an assignment, there were many people I could go with and go out and do those things. Many locations I knew about that were hot spots for practicing, but where I'm at now, I haven't really got to explore that very much. I honestly haven't done as much as I could to take advantage of the area around me and trying out those things. And so I just really wanted to make sure I tried that this month. And I did. I kind of expected that I might go walking and running a lot more. I thought it would be more like an everyday thing. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen as I planned, but that's okay. I did get to go walking a lot, especially when I was out birding. And I also expected that I might try to find multiple locations. However, I really only tried out one spot. The reason for this is once I found that spot, honestly, I fell in love with it. I was so surprised that I had been living where I've been living for so long and never checked it out. It's kind of a windy day, but so far, I've been pretty pleased with this location. I haven't been here before, and there's a lot of birds, a lot of fish. I know that when spring really gets in full swing that there'll be more frogs. So far this is a pretty good site, and I think I will come here again. My dog, however, doesn't like it. All the sounds of the water really freak him out. Well, maybe we'll get him used to it. You know, he'll be an outdoor boy. He'll be an outdoor boy one day. Come here. Come on, Timbers. Come on. Come on. Really like about the spot that I'm at is that no one is here to like bother me or just be in my presence. Like, it feels kind of empty, but I like it that way. And it's very low stakes. Like, you can just park wherever, just come and walk around. And it pretty much has everything I was really looking for to be able to go out and do this. I kind of got the feeling that this lake spot was where people just went to go vibe when they really had nothing else to do. It also seemed to be a place where some like troublemaker kids wanted to hang out during the weeknights. But aside from that, I really had no problems with anybody, and I really liked that there wasn't as much people as I had initially expected, because I think having less people and a lot of dead hours made it to where there were a lot more birds out and I was able to see a lot more. So this goose, he's guarding his wife over there. And he won't let us pass. He keeps chasing my dog. I'm trying to squeeze by him. I have to get across the bridge. Let's sneak behind him maybe. So today was pretty good. I think I found a cackling goose, and if I'm right, they're pretty rare in this area. I'm sure if the people at eBird have any qualms about it, they will email me and be like, give me photo evidence where I can't say that you actually found this bird, but I do have a picture, so I'm kind of waiting to see if it's right, but I'm pretty sure there was a cackling goose. He looked pretty derpy. I saw him standing next to a Canada goose, and I was like, man, that guy looks effed up, only to realize, oh, well, yeah, he's not the same. Now, I chose May for this theme because May is the month of migration. It is the highest peak season for whenever you are most likely to see non-native species. Now, it also hosts Migratory Bird Day, which I also did get to go out and celebrate. Celebrate by birding, of course. It's day 2 of going out birding. It's the same site as last time, but this time I found a yellow-headed blackbird, which is so cool. Apparently uncommon in this area. I'm stumped. I can't figure out what bird this is. He has a thick bill, which leads me to think he could be some type of finch or sparrow, but I'm not sure. Now the cool thing was that even though I stayed in the same location each time I went birding, I saw different things each time I went. And I'm sure that the main reason for that was that since May has a lot of birds migrating through, I probably saw a lot of things that are normally not there and maybe only was coming for the season. I'm not entirely sure which birds were fully native to this area, but I could kind of get an idea based on how often I saw the species that I did. It's Memorial Day weekend. We're gonna see how many birds we can get today. This might be one of the last weekends that I can come out and do this month. But we're gonna see how many birds we can find. And it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, of course. Now, if you're new to birding, there are a few tools that you can use to help get you started. One of the things I like to use is Merlin's Bird Guide app and also eBird. eBird is one of the largest citizen science databases out there, and birders from all around the world track their birding experiences on this app. So how it works is you open up the app, you have your account made, and you click start in whatever location that you're at, and as you go along, you'll mark the birds that you see. It will keep track of the time span that it took you to log all of those birds and see all of those birds. It'll keep track of your location, all of the species, and it will even tell you a little bit more about whether the species you are seeing is kind of rare or uncommon or common. And usually if you get something rare or something that is not normally in your area, there are the eBird police, as I like to call them, and they will email you asking you for proof of the birds you spotted if you log something that is not typically ever seen where you're at. Now, they may see a lot of this kind of behavior during this time of year just because birds are migrating through, and there definitely is a chance you could see a bird that is not normally in your area, but still something to keep in mind. You cannot cheat the system. Birders are very serious about their job. You can also log pictures on there and comments on there, especially if you're not exactly sure about something. You can kind of leave a note for yourself or whoever's observing your log, and then you kind of have a little bit more context to what you had seen that day. Now, for the Merlin's Bird Guide app, I like that one because it helps me locate potential birds in my area. Now, some birders may not really like to use this because, in a way, it may feel like cheating to the sport because it does tell you a lot of common birds in that area, but it gives you a lot of cool tools, like a lot of photos. You can scroll through and see a species of bird at its different stages of life, and it will also show you different kinds of calls and songs that they do, and they have recordings of them. Now, as I said, I'm not a diehard birder myself, so I don't really care about all of that. I just want to try and figure out a bird on my own, and if I can identify that, if I can play its call and get a cool photo, that's really all I'm here for. That's the enjoyment I get out of it. Don't let other birders scare you out of this hobby. They will do it. They can be intimidating and a little bit picky, but just enjoy it however you like. You know, the most important thing I think is to get out there and appreciate God's creations, to appreciate nature and appreciate the lovely birds in the sky. And really, I think that's all that matters. Now, Merlin's Bird Guide has gotten better over the years, I think, because I used to have the app a long time ago, and when I would download it, it would require me to download bird packs for my area, which took up a lot of space and also just a lot of time. If I ever went to another area or another state or country, I'd have to download the bird pack for that area, which kind of makes sense. But I think the way it's working now is it can kind of identify where your location is, and it will just show you possible things that may show up in your area, which I think is so much more efficient to me and so much better. So thank you, Merlin, for improving your app. I don't know if this was a feature hidden from me for a while, but I got to finally use it, and it was way better and way easier to help me track. I do think it does hold your hand a little bit, so maybe for the diehard birders, maybe it's not for you. Now, I know a lot of OG birders may not like the app, but that's okay. I think that the app is great for beginners and people who just want to do this casually. A lot of OG birders may just honestly know it off the top of their head because they're that good. Or if you're like me, you kind of learned on a field guide. Sibley's Bird Guide is a very common one, so you can also try that too. Now, these are way more detailed than the Merlin's Guide, as it gives you a lot more pictures, a lot more context, a lot more information about the locations they can be found and exactly how their call can sound without listening to it. It will describe it to you, and it will even show you many comparisons from birds that look exactly alike, as sometimes there are birds that there is no way to tell them apart physically, and the only way to know is through their call. So that was where something like this could come in handy. However, if I'm not going into any strange location I've never been before, or somewhere where there's just so many species it's hard to tell, then I don't really need this. As you can see, I've already marked this up a ton since when I was in school. I've made all my notes. So it's kind of been through the ringer, but it's still a very good book, but I think it's hard for me to navigate through nowadays because I'm not seeing this many species at once. So I thought that the Merlin Bird Guide was good for me, and it worked out great. Now, out of all my day trips out this month, I managed to spot 25 different species. However, I think 2 of those species are not fully accurate, and I'm not 100% confident that I saw what I saw. So one of them being a western meadowlark, and the reason I'm kind of iffy on that one is I was almost certain I heard its call. I even played it back on the Merlin's Guide app. I listened to it multiple times, and I could have sworn that the bird responded, because sometimes they will do that, and that's another reason I really like the app, is I can play their call, and oftentimes they'll respond back thinking it's another real bird. And I've had that happen many times with cardinals and other species, and this time, every time I played it, the bird would respond. However, I never saw the bird. Well, I saw a bird that looked like it, but they were moving too fast. And western meadowlark has a yellow belly with a kind of grayish brown speckled back, and their belly turns into that speckled pattern toward the edges of it and onto its back. However, I also knew Baltimore Orioles were in the area, and Baltimore Orioles kind of look similar at a glance. And as I'm looking up, obviously, I can mostly only see the bottom. So I saw the yellow belly, and I could not tell. I could just hear the call, and I saw them, and, it sounded like a meadowlark. I couldn't tell if it was eastern or western, but I'm almost certain the call was the same. And I was racking my brain about this. I also saw a bird nest there that one of the birds was sitting in, but it was a Baltimore Oriole bird nest. I don't think meadowlarks make the same nests as Baltimore Orioles. So once I saw that nest, and I'd also seen Baltimore Orioles nearby, I'm kind of thinking that's what I saw, but it does not explain to me why the call did not sound like that. So I'm still a bit confused, but I left it on my list just so I know that that's kind of the situation I ran into. Now, another species I was not sure about was a brown-headed cowbird. And the reason about this is because the first day that I went, I had logged that I had seen 20 brown-headed cowbirds. That's because I saw a flock of them in a field, and I thought that their call kind of sounded like them, and based on pictures I got from afar, it looked like that. However, after that day, I never saw them again, but in that same area, I was seeing flocks and high numbers of yellow-headed blackbirds. And what I suspect I may have been seeing was juvenile yellow-headed blackbirds, because juveniles do not grow their yellow plumage until adulthood. And I didn't really realize that in hindsight, because obviously I logged the cowbird on the first day, but it is still possible that they could have been in that area, or possible that maybe they were passing through. So I'm not really sure, but I left that on my list just in case. If I have any photos, I will leave them at the end and you guys can make the judgment. Now, as I said, I really like to do wildlife photography, so I'm not one of those birders that go out with binoculars and look around. I don't think just looking at birds is the funnest thing. Sometimes it is. But since I am not the greatest at identifying birds by call and just by looking at them, I like to take pictures so I can practice that way. I'll always have an image of whatever I saw, and I also just find photography a lot more fun. I'm also surprised that going to the same spot multiple times yielded many different results. I honestly kind of expected it to be boring after a while, and surely it will if I continue to go more, but each time I saw something different and I got a cooler picture. I tried to go in the early day and in the afternoon. The only thing I didn't get to try that I was really trying to encourage myself to do was waking up early in the morning. I tried to go between 6 and 8 a.m. because I know that can be peak bird hour. However, I could not make myself do it. I was way too tired, and I often wanted to stay up late doing something different. So maybe in the future I can make myself do that, but I'm honestly not sure if I went to that same location if it would really be that different. But maybe the lighting and photos would be different, and I think that I could have some cooler things if I actually took a chance and tried that. I ended up getting some really cool photos of the red-winged blackbird. I love red-winged blackbirds because they hang out near wetlands, and I really like wetlands because they have frogs. So I had seen a red-winged blackbird a long time ago in college once, and I remember thinking, man, I just really want to get a cool photo of them because I never see them around just out and about because I don't really have a lot of wetlands in my area. But I had hoped that one day I would see them again. And lo and behold, this place that I went had them everywhere. I saw so many of them, got so many great shots I will share at the end. I was really excited. I can count that off my list as a cool bird photo I got. I'm honestly thinking about making a board or a picture board or something where I can log every bird species I've ever seen and taken a really cool photo of. And I also got some really cool photos of a great blue heron on my last day that I went. I almost did not go. It was kind of a spur of the moment, like, I'll go today. I haven't been in a while. Let me go, because I was kind of going at a rate of once or twice a week. And I know it was nearing the end of this month, but I ended up going, and I'm glad I did because I got a great blue heron getting a fish out of the water. He pulled it up out of the water, and then he kind of shook it a bit, threw it on the ground, picked it back up, and then ate it. And I tried to get as many pictures as I could. I'm sad I didn't also get a video, but I'm only one person and I was too excited, but I'll also share those photos at the end because I think they're so cool. And then I tried to get closer and closer. I wanted to see how close it would let me get because I wanted to get a picture of it flying. Unfortunately, my camera was zoomed in a little too far, so I didn't really get as many cool shots of that as I'd hoped, but I did get some, and I'll share those too. Now, I didn't get a cool photo of every bird, but I will share a picture of every bird I did see at the end of this video, so you can be sure to look forward to that, stick around, and watch those. Rate my photos, which one's the best? And also, if you have any good photo editing apps, let me know. Please don't say Lightroom because I am on an Adobe strike. I've used Lightroom before and it was a pain in my rear. Anything else, I do not like subscription service type of platform, so anything I can buy outright or that is free is good by me. So be sure to drop those recs in the comments below if I'm open to it. Currently, I kind of just edit on my phone and that's good enough for me through any simple app. But I think I would like something a little bit more professional because I do try to sell my wildlife photography. I'm not perfect, and some might even call me an amateur, but I do think I have had some pretty good shots in the past. Evidence here. And so I think sometimes I do want to take those photos a little bit more serious. Now, aside from all the birds I saw, I also wanted to do some other cool bird things. So I installed 2 bird houses in my yards, one in the front and one in the back, because I've had having some pigeons hang out. I don't really have a lot of trees in my area, but I was hoping, I was seeing pigeons around and I was like, they don't really need trees, but maybe they'll take advantage of these bird houses. However, while they were advertised for pigeons, once I installed them, it looked too small for the pigeons and I wasn't really sure if I would get any neighbors. But luckily today, actually, May 30th, the second to last day of the month, I saw that one of the birds started making a nest in it. So I'm very excited about that. The other one has yet to have been turned into a home, but I'm going to give it a few more weeks, maybe even a few more months. And if nothing uses it, I think I'm going to move the location, because the location I put it is a little bit low and a little bit close to too much activity. So I might move the second one. But I'm happy because, I didn't get pigeons in it, but I got something, and that's better than nothing. And now it means every spring and summer I can keep an eye on the birds in my yard and provide them a safe space to live. That was kind of the goal, is, just because we have all this urban expansion doesn't mean we can't give back to the wildlife we are taking from. That is kind of how I see it. Some people are bothered by birds and think of them as pests or a nuisance, or, maybe I'm domesticating them. But honestly, I don't care. There are enough feral cats out there killing bird species left and right, causing them to go extinct, that this is the least I can do. And as someone who really enjoys birds, I love the sound of them, I love to look at them, I am glad that I can give them a little home in my yard. Next, I also got a hummingbird feeder for my yard. Of course, it's kind of the stereotypical red one with like little flowers on it. I'm not as big a fan of hummingbirds, and I'm honestly not sure if I get hummingbirds in my area since I don't have a lot of trees or bushes right now. But I did it anyway because my significant other loves hummingbirds and loves hummingbird feeders, so I figured we'd give it a shot, and that'd be kind of like his little bird adventure this month. So we bought the feeder and we're gonna see how it goes, and hopefully we get something. I also wanted to install a bird feeder with a camera and a bird bath this month. However, those are a bit expensive and hard to transport. That might be a later summer project, but it's definitely on my list and something I wanted to do. In the meantime, if you have any recommendations on bird feeder cameras, let me know. I've been looking into some, and there's some that I really like, but I'm not really sure if it's worth it for the cost. I don't know. I'm not super tech savvy, so getting one of the ones that are already pre-made and set up and ready for me is fine by me, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting my money's worth. So I'm going to take some time to think about that, and hopefully in the coming months I can add that to my list. However, I did get started on making the box turtle habitat enclosure for my backyard that I was supposed to do last month, because I did get an opening of sunshine one weekend and was able to get the hardest part done. So far, I have the first layer of drainage rocks and the walls put up, but I still have a lot of work to do, so that will come later in another video where I will kind of show you the whole process. But for now, just know that I did manage to get that done and at least started. Hopefully that will be a video for next month. We'll see how far I get. Overall, even though I didn't do every little thing I had planned to originally, I think I made a lot of progress. I'm very happy with how the month went. It definitely brought out my excitement for birding again and made me realize that it's really not so hard and tedious to just go outside and take a walk with my camera, to just go out to the nearest park and take some pictures. Honestly, it made me realize I had been lazy for way too long, and I'm a little bit disappointed on how long I had been sitting on opportunities like this, but I can't let that get myself down because I made a lot of progress this month and I'm just happy with that. The whole point of doing things like this is really to just remind myself of all the things there is out there to explore, kind of get back more in touch with things I used to enjoy, and kind of see where I'm at in life and what about my interests have changed or remained. And it's just been a very special thing to share with you and explore with myself, and I'm very excited for next month. Kind of noticed that everything I've done these past few months, I've been bringing over and dragging to the next month. And I didn't really anticipate that outcome. I kind of thought that once the month was over, I would stop doing whatever I was doing, but I honestly have seen the opposite. In January, I signed up for a boxing class. I'm still taking that boxing class. In February, I streamed a lot to try and bring back streaming into my life and get more in touch with my community. And while I'm not streaming nearly as much as I did that month, I'm still on a reoccurring schedule and have been streaming a lot. And I've even hit my 300 follower goal, and I can do my special milestone stream coming up. I'm trying to save up a little bit of money to get all the cosplay items I want, but I've still been making progress toward that. All the drawing I started doing in March, I've been carrying over. And even though gardening ended last month, technically, I've been thinking about a lot of projects I want to do moving forward that I didn't really consider for my yard. Well, that's really all I have for you guys. I'm really excited to share the photos that I took this month, so be sure to stick around at the end of this video. I will show those. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.